Welcome back to AWS reInvent, and we've got a super exciting segment here. We're going to be talking a really cool use case of generative AI with the folks of Jam and T Studio. Awesome use case on games and how you can be able to use games with generative AI. So maybe just do some intros.
Yeah, hi. I'm Aaron. I'm the one of the co-founders. I'm CTO at Jam and Tea.
And my name is Yi Chow. I'm the Chief Creative Officer for Jam and T Studios. And Kyle Crow is our CEO and third co-founder who couldn't be with us today, but sends his regards.
So cool. And I want to learn more about how it is that you're using AWS and the generative AI accelerator, but maybe we should first be able to see the game and then we can kind of get more into that as well. So love to see a demo of it.
I'll pull up our game here. So for us, one of the things we're really excited about is how we think that generative AI is not only just going to create all kinds of new tools for development, but offer new kinds of gameplay for players as well. So here, I'm jumping into a game of Retail Mage, our game that is available on Steam. It's a very small, simple game where you're playing as a wizard in a magical furniture store. You're a customer support agent, and you have to help a bunch of customers who come in with all kinds of different wants and needs, and you have to creatively solve their problems with your friends. So today I'll be playing solo, but we've really woven a generative AI throughout the game to give players more ability to play improvisationally. And what we mean by that is to have their inputs and what they say really change and affect how the game responds and what happens with the game. So here, we're going to create a character as you might in other games, but you'll notice that rather than picking hard numbers and stats, we're picking things that kind of describe our characters. And in a moment, all of that will come together to generate a backstory and background for our character. So for this particular playthrough, I've hit the random button on the cosmetics for the character. I'm going to say, I think she looks pretty strong. We're going to call her,
Yeah,
she's going to be the buffest mage here.
that's right.
I think that's a fun one as well. But she, the earrings is giving me an artist vibe, so we'll say that we're going to be a buff artist. Really, my aspiration personally as a player. But then we jump into again the fantasy here is you're filling out a minimum wage job application. So we've got some questions to answer. Why do we want to work at Mage Mart? I'm going to say I need a summer job. A fun fact about us. I'm going to say I have 3 pet raccoons. And where do I see myself in 5 years? We're going to aim realistically. I think we'll say middle management. Not nothing too crazy here. But kind of in this first element, right away we're able to generate a background of your character based on the choices you've made and the things you've entered in. Right. So here the game captures that I'm a recent graduate. I'm remarkably strong, able to lift heavy furniture, useful on the job, and that I'm an artist as well. So we really wanted to integrate the ability for the game to invent and play along with the player at every step of the way with this technology.
So maybe stop right here. I mean, this is a fantastic overview, and I like how even like the use of the 3 pet raccoons was kind of just like sprinkled in at the end. So
Yeah.
how is this summary like using generative AI?
It
It
is.
is. Go for
It
it.
is. And one of the important things is that you'll notice every single time that we take player input, we actually recontextualize it. So we can take anachronistic or even offensive comments, and then we can convert those into the game to ensure that we keep the integrity of the game experience. So this is the first place in the game where a player will actually interact with generative content, and it is connecting back into our AI backend that's powered by AWS.
Yeah. And what's really fun is as we encounter other customers and people encounter us, their responses and things, they will know this to be true about us, and it might change how they behave or the questions they might ask.
Yep.
Or they might even, I've seen sometimes the customers will ask me about my pet raccoons or other things that are in my background if they hear about it, or if things are, self-evident, like, for example, how strong I am and things like that. So
I'm really excited to see. I mean, what kind of job this person with 3 raccoons, a woman who's buff, who wants to be middle management, like what what their job's going to look like.
yeah, so we'll hop into the session here and see what happens. As you can see, our store is a bit of a maze of all kinds of showrooms and magical menagerie of silly things. But kind of two key ways that we really are leveraging the technology to create novel play is in dialogue. So when we talk to a character, which I'll check out here, we just had a customer show up. Hello, Kyle. I'm gonna say, welcome to Mage Mart. How are you doing today? Great. And so we have, voice to text, so we can talk directly to our customers. But in our game, we want to make sure that players will be able to have dialogue options, so they don't have to be a brilliant writer in order to have fun dialogue in the game. But they've taken the intent of what I want to say, and we've got some dialogue options we can choose between. So the first one is pretty much what I wanted to ask. So I'll ask that of Kyle here. And Kyle, in the moment here, this is generated text. We've, as designers, have crafted what the character wants and like their objectives and their personality, but the dialogue itself is written in the moment with input of sample dialogue dialogue text to give you a sense of the voice and tone of who that character is. So that means that I can ask just about anything I want. So he mentioned he's looking for necromancy goods here in the magical store, but I'm curious about, hey, would you happen to be single? And I can type.
Well, I didn't know if you could ask questions outside of just like shopping and like being able to like have this job that we want to apply for and work in.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we really want to create, and we've always dreamed about making, is games that truly give players the opportunity to kind of be creative and do what they want and play the games how they want. And so I kind of like the third option here. It's a very direct question of asking if Kyle happens to be single. So we'll go ahead and ask him.
Crime. That is good.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, the dialogue and a number of other features for these characters is all controlled or enhanced through generative AI. So that includes this dialogue that's going back and forth, that remember it. So they have like a memory system, a perception system, a planning system. So these are a form of AI agents that we have just in the form of these kind of characters that include customers in the game or other employees that you'll interact with.
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about this. Just like in this example here of what all the things that we're seeing the dialogue, we're seeing the actual visualizations of these characters. Can you give us an idea of how it is that you're using AWS?
Yeah, I'll describe that a little bit while Yichao continues to explore the world.
Awesome.
So we happen to use a number of AWS features. In this case, all of this inference is being, so we have the game that's running on Yichao's computer. That is sending messages up into the cloud to AWS, where we have an EKS cluster. That EKS cluster manages a number of AWS GPUs, and we happen to run our own fine-tuned foundational models on those GPUs, as well as a bunch of open source inference frameworks. And so we really take advantage of the ability to do the machine learning capacity blocks, the GPUs, and in particular, have a cluster to be able to kind of manage all of that inference in an efficient and cost-effective way for us. And so as we're going through at various times, both when Yichao is interacting with the world, but also at times in the background, it's making these calls up into the cloud, doing the machine learning in and the AI inference in AWS before it comes back and then is incorporated into the game simulation.
Yeah. And what this enables is us to allow players to get creative and to do things with both characters and objects in creative ways. So just now, I just typed in, I want to carve my name into the chair. And the game was able to do that. It told me that I was successful at carving my name into the mahogany chair. It told me why I'm successful. I'm an artist, so that helped a lot. My background also helped in terms of my backstory. And the chair got modified in, right here immediately, and got a tag added to it that has the text on it now, M, right? So the system is built as much as possible to allow the players to think outside the box, do creative things, and be able to change up the world around them in order to have it react to what they're doing.
Yeah, I've made sandwiches in the game. I have customers where I couldn't figure out how to give them what they wanted. I've ripped pages out of books and written IOUs on them to let them, and they'll just be like, sure, we'll ship it to you. And it really allows players to come up with creative because they can interact with both the agents and the world in these kind of dynamic ways that are really unlocked by having machine learning interpret that player intent, and then we translate that into actions in the game simulation.
It's so amazing, all the different scenarios and just the creativity that can be unleashed in this game. So I'd love to understand more how AWS has helped you during this process, being able to build
Oh,
this game.
100%. So we're a small team, and this is some very, the technology is moving very, very quickly. And so we've really been able, AWS has been there along the way, helping us with access to the technology. Access to these GPUs, access to these machine learning models can be very difficult. And we've had great account representative, great folks at AWS who's helped us get access to this technology, navigate it, answer our questions. We've been very lucky to be part of the AWS generative AI cohort that is going through right now, the accelerator. And that's really given us a chance to not only get additional help from Amazon, but also interact with other companies and startups around the world that are also doing stuff with generative AI. We've been able to share ideas and challenges. And so it wasn't just the technology, but even just connecting us with this broader industry has really been helpful for us.
So cool. Go ahead.
The imp on fire lit a bush on fire.
Oh my
So, I'm going to be looking for a fire extinguisher here.
We can also, getting into the technical side, once we put out maybe a few of the fires, each out can kind of bring up we have some tools that we've also built as developers who help us understand what's going on in the system, how to inspect or even iterate over the way that we do inference. So we've built some of those tools directly into our the Unreal Engine that allow us to look at the inference that's happening, look at what how the world is being modified with the inference. So I think that each can bring up some of our debug tools if we have the correct build. Yes. So this is actually a review. This is all the machine learning we've been doing. You've seen on screen. All of these are individual inference requests. We have a bunch of debug tools in here where we can see both like tokens and input and output. We can even actually rerun some of these requests in real time using our prompt testing tool to be able to rerun and like say, hey, if I tweak this data, or if I run it against this model or that model, do I get different outputs based on that? We talk a lot about the capabilities that this brings to players, but it does bring a lot of capabilities to us as developers. We found that we're able to iterate much more rapidly because we have these tools available for us.
That is absolutely amazing. I love what you have shown us with that, being able to test different prompts. So was that something that you built during the AWS Generative AI Accelerator?
We actually had this very, very early in our experience. It was one of the first things we built in order to move very quickly. We believe that we need to be very agile and iterative. But it's been a great way for us to, when I said like interact with other of these teams and also have folks from AWS help us out, is being able to bring up this data and show something in real time and test it has been pretty crucial for sharing understanding of like, how does this all work and how can we change it? So that's been really helpful. And we've definitely been, while showing that, whether it's been with some of the AWS representatives or some of the generative AI accelerator teams, been able to kind of poke in at things and they'll be able to give us advice or see, well, what if we do this or what if we do that? I think that's really critical for being able to explore this technology.
It really is. And I think there's just so many industries, especially gaming and creatives, that are really thinking about generative AI. And I'm sure we've got a lot of creatives who are joining us today on Twitch. So can you tell us more about how do you see creatives in the gaming industry being able to utilize generative AI?
Absolutely. I think, again, for us and the focus that Jam and Tea has, we're really laser focused on empowering creatives to kind of make a new style of game, right? Ones where the player has a lot more ability and kind of autonomy to be creative, and where that, we've said a couple times, the world really plays back with the player, right? So again, everything you're seeing here, there's a lot of inference being run in the background in terms of what players are, what characters are saying, what actions are happening, how does actions change the perception of customers. For example, customers, if they see a lot of things on fire in the store, are going to comment on that when they leave the 5-star review about how chaotic or crazy the store has gotten. And all of that really is empowered by letting our creatives drive that story and craft the characters and design the behaviors of those characters and of the intention of the game, right? We really view that AI is most powerful for us in terms of the player experience when it's used to create that ability for players to have more impact and choice, and giving designers the tools to, instead of writing each individual line of dialogue and having to create every single spoken kind of sentence, has the ability to give the parameters and training for the NPC characters to be able to respond in character, to be able to respond ad hoc and impromptu to whatever the player might come up with, whether they're flirting with a character or talking to them about the things they want to buy, or asking them about, hey, one of the characters I was just talking with earlier, Michelle, she's apparently an adventurer looking to go on an adventure. And I started having a conversation with her about, what is your adventure going to be go headed to? And she was able to answer me and improvise a little bit on that topic, which then helps me get her an item that might be better suited for what the kind of adventure she wants to go on. And on the back end, right, like the inference is able to take all of that into account when she finally gives us that 5-star review of like this customer service rep really listened to my story, right, and it built my trust with this character. And so these levers, which again create increased kind of investment and believability of the world and behaviors of characters, is really the excitement for us about what AI can empower.
Yeah, and it's kind of, as a developer myself, I really enjoy creating new tools for creatives and, folks like eChow to be able to create these amazing worlds. And what this really allows us to do is, it's not replacing, eChow or our creatives. It's really enhancing their abilities. And in some ways, each of these little AI agents is a proxy of eChow, is a proxy of our designer. It brings them into the world and allows them to get closer to the players and change that gameplay in real time based on the directives that our designers have given ahead of time. And so we really see it as an enhancement and empowering our designers and creatives. Again, as game makers ourselves, it's really important for us to forge the future that we want to live in. Right? We want to keep making games, and we think this is a great way to make those and a great way to honor and continue to enhance the creativity of our industry.
Wow, this is so cool. I definitely want to play it, and I'm sure I would probably be starting some fires. I can't imagine what are the kind of crazy things you could be able to do in this world, and I'm sure a lot of people want to get started with it too. So how could they be able to play the game?
Yeah, the game is available on Steam, and you will be able to, find it on the Steam store. And right now, this particular title is just on PC for now. We made this game over the course of the last 6 months, and we really wanted to focus on a one platform launch so we can increase the quality and be able to add in all the cool new experimental features that we wanted. So Steam's the best place to find that at this moment.
Okay. Steam is the place to find it. Retail Magic? Is that like that?
Retail Mage.
Retail Mage. Retail Mage. Okay. Go play it. I definitely want to play it, see who I can talk to, all the different oh my god, there's more fires in the background that we gotta burn out. Use Gen AI to go stop those fires. I like it. All right. Aaron Yichao, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure. This was a lot of fun.
Stick around, everyone. Oh my gosh, that person just waved to us?
Yes.
I can't. That's insane. Wow. Well, stick around, everyone. We've got more coming up at reInvent on AWS OnAir.